Good day, good people, and welcome to Revolutionary Belovedness. I'm Robert Farrell, the founder and spiritual director of Contemplative Inner Being. Whether you are here for the live session or watching the recording, thank you for your participation. If you will, let me know in the chat section that you can hear me okay and see everything all right. I want to let you know, too, that the chat section remains open and feel free to share anything at all at any time when it comes to your heart. I certainly appreciate the participation and the interaction from each of you. Thank you so much. Tonight we are going to reflect on nonviolence as a way of being, committing to thoughts, words, and actions that refuse harm and dehumanization. Let's take a moment to center down and settle into a posture that allows both dignity and ease. Feel the weight of the body received by the earth. Let the spine rise gently as though lifted by quiet strength. Allow the hands to rest openly. Sense the rhythm of breathing, steady and generous. With each inhale, welcome the gift of life flowing through the body. With each exhale, offer goodwill to the wider world. Imagine the breath weaving you into the great communion of beings who share this moment. Bring to your awareness the simple intention to live in a way that causes no harm. And let this intention rest in the heart like a small flame. Sense how this flame carries warmth, clarity, and courage. Remain here for a few breaths, grounded in presence, receptive to wisdom, ready to explore the path of nonviolence as a way of being. Friends, nonviolence does not just mean not doing violence. It is also a way of taking positive action to resist oppression or bring about change. The aim of nonviolence is to convert your opponent, to win over their mind and heart and persuade them that your point of view is the more correct one. An important element is often to make sure that the opponent is given a face-saving way of changing their mind. You see, nonviolence seeks a win-win solution whenever possible. And in nonviolence, the participant does not want to make their opponent suffer. Instead, they show that they are willing to suffer themselves in order to bring about change. Nonviolence has great appeal because it removes the illogicality of trying to make the world a less violent and more just place by using violence as a tool. And among the techniques of nonviolence are peaceful demonstrations, sit-ins, holding vigils, fasting and hunger strikes, civil disobedience. Ali Abu Awad says that nonviolence is to be an artist of your humanity, to bring the best of you, not just by solving problems, but also by living, by experiencing, by practicing. It is about your humanity is my instrument, and I have to be able to bring you to that place. He goes on to say one of the core principles of nonviolence, the core worldview of nonviolence, is the unwavering faith in humanity and in the goodness of people, no matter how much harm someone may have committed, that the possibility of transformation and the possibility of resilience is there. End quote. Nonviolence clearly begins with personal nonviolence. Most of us have bouts of immense self-doubt, fear, anxiety, guilt, shame, and even at times self-hatred. Yet, we yearn for a daily intention that begins, "Create in me a clean heart. Blessed are the pure in heart." The heart is an organ for the perception of divine purpose and beauty. The heart is for divine perception. It is our antenna, so to speak, given to us to orient us toward the divine radiance and to synchronize our being with being itself. As the psalmist says, deep calls unto deep. As we are liberated from those immense bouts, our presence automatically liberates others. If the heart is awake and clear, it can directly receive, radiate, and reflect this unmanifest divine reality. So, working to clean your own heart is holy work. It doesn't just help you, it helps the world. Friends, nonviolence begins long before any public action. It begins in the interior landscape of perception, where thoughts form, where stories take shape, where judgment soften into understanding and widen into compassion. To speak of nonviolence as a way of being is to speak of a life shaped from the inside out by reverence for the dignity of all. This kind of reverence flows from the recognition that every being arises from the same sacred source, participates in the same field of belonging, and carries within them a depth that deserves care. And friends, this vision rests upon an awareness of interdependence, interbeing. Interbeing. Every breath arrives through the generosity of trees. Every meal reflects the labor of countless hands. Every insight grows from traditions and teachers who offered their wisdom across generations. And in this web of shared life, harm reverberates. A harsh word leaves an imprint. A demeaning assumption shapes posture and tone. A policy that diminishes one community ripples through the whole. Friends, nonviolence recognizes this subtle interconnectedness and chooses to live in alignment with it, honoring the delicate bonds that hold reality together. So deep nonviolence matures through moral awakening. A conscience attuned to the sacredness of life begins to act from an inner compass shaped by love. Compassion becomes a reflex of the heart. Integrity becomes a natural posture. The commitment to refrain from harm moves beyond rule keeping and becomes an expression of identity. And the heart understands that to wound another is to wound the shared body of humanity. This kind of understanding gradually transforms instinct, guiding speech, gesture, and decision. So, nonviolence, therefore, extends far beyond the absence of physical aggression. It includes the tone of voice, the glance across a room, the interior commentary that shapes perception. And it reaches into economic choices, political engagement, and communal life. It shapes how power is held and how difference is encountered. Nonviolence becomes a disciplined tenderness toward the fabric of reality itself, a steady refusal to participate in patterns that diminish dignity. And so as this interior formation deepens, it naturally expresses itself in the public sphere. You cannot give what you do not have. The inner commitment to reverence ripens into outer courage. Figures like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., the Dalai Lama, they all reveal how contemplative grounding flowers into steadfast action. Their lives and many others demonstrate that nonviolence thrives as courageous engagement rooted in spiritual depth. Their witness emerges from disciplined hearts that learned to align thought, word, and deed with compassion. Now, many of you know that I am a follower of Richard Rohr and his organization, the Center for Action and Contemplation. And I have developed the viewpoint that nonviolence is the spiritual practice of action and contemplation, because they are inseparable. And as Richard says, the most important word is "and." Friends, this flowering reveals an important truth. Nonviolence does not imply passivity. It carries strength shaped by clarity, gentleness grounded in conviction, and that gentleness radiates immense power. When injustice arises, nonviolence calls forth courageous response. It summons the moral imagination to envision structures shaped by equity and policies animated by respect. It cultivates the resilience required to remain present in conflict while preserving dignity. And here, as we turn to Valerie Kaur and the revolutionary love practice of fight, we can see that it finds its proper place here. Fight in this context expresses a fierce dedication to justice guided by love. It names the willingness to confront systems that diminish human worth, to speak truth in spaces clouded by distortion, to organize communities toward transformation. And this practice of fight emerges from a heart anchored in nonviolence rather than fueled by hostility. It reflects the clarity that love seeks, and it seeks the flourishing of all. Friends, the relationship between nonviolence And this spiritual practice that Valerie Kaur calls fight resembles root and branch. Nonviolence forms the interior root system, drawing nourishment from contemplative awareness and moral clarity. And fight becomes the outward branch, extending into the world as disciplined action. When rooted deeply, this branch bears fruit that contributes to healing rather than harm. The struggle itself remains aligned with the dignity it seeks to defend. So, friends, to fight through love means engaging conflict while guarding the humanity of every person involved. It means resisting policies that harm while remembering that even those who uphold such policies remain participants in the shared human story. It means speaking firmly while remaining grounded in respect. And so this form of fight refuses dehumanization and insists on rehumanization. It seeks transformation rather than triumph. It embodies the conviction that means and ends share one moral fabric. And this kind of disciplined engagement requires continual return to interior grounding. Because contemplative practice trains perception so that our reactive impulses soften into awareness. Silence cultivates spacious attention. Prayer and meditation deepen communion with the source of compassion. And through this formation, the heart learns to pause before responding, to sense the deeper movement of love, and to act from that depth. My teacher, James Finley, taught in a moment that profoundly shook me with a simple sentence, is can you pause long enough to ask yourself, what is the most loving thing I can do in this moment? And in this way, the practice of fight draws strength from nonviolence rather than substituting intensity for integrity. So friends, the interior climate shaped by nonviolence also transforms the experience of strong emotion. Anger becomes energy for justice guided by wisdom. Sorrow becomes solidarity with those who suffer. Determination becomes steady commitment to change. These powerful currents find direction through the disciplined lens of reverence. And nonviolence holds them within a field of dignity, ensuring that struggle contributes to restoration. This path calls for emotional maturity and self-knowledge. Hidden motives will gradually receive illumination. Attachments to control soften into trust. Humility accompanies courage, reminding the heart that every person carries complexity. Humility strengthens resolve by grounding it in truth. It fosters discernment about when to speak, how to organize, and where to focus energy. And in this way, nonviolence shapes the quality of fight from within. Friends, the prophetic tradition illuminates this integrated stance. Prophets stand at the edge of the inside, loyal to their communities and attentive to their failures. They love deeply enough to critique. Their words arise from compassion joined with clarity. And so nonviolence lived prophetically resist domination through truth saturated with care. And this revolutionary love practice of fight becomes prophetic when it flows from such interior alignment. And this interior alignment, my friends, is what we are referring to this year as revolutionary belovedness. And nonviolence also expresses itself in the ordinary spaces of daily life. A parent guiding a child with patient firmness. A teacher responding to tension with curiosity. A colleague addressing disagreement with openness. These interactions form the daily training ground for larger acts of justice. Each moment of relational integrity strengthens the capacity for public courage. The fight for dignity in society grows from the practice of dignity in personal encounters. And so, as awareness expands, the moral imagination widens. Nonviolence envisions communities organized around shared flourishing. Nonviolence imagines economies grounded in enoughness and cooperation. Nonviolence imagines public discourse shaped by attentive listening and mutual respect. And this imagination energizes disciplined action. Love organizes, studies systems carefully, builds alliances, and crafts creative responses to injustice. And so that means that strategic wisdom becomes an expression of reverence for the gravity of suffering. The Sufis tell a story of the Holy One who said to his disciples, "What's better, do you think? Is it contemplation or is it action?" They said, "Why, Holy One, it's action, of course. What good is contemplation in a suffering world?" And the Holy One said, "Ah, yes, but what good is action that proceeds from an unenlightened heart?" Dear ones, the rhythm of action and contemplation fosters resilience. Those who engage in loving struggle encounter fatigue and disappointment. Communities sustain them. Shared prayer strengthens them. Stories of ancestors who walked this path awaken courage. And the lineage of nonviolent witness stretches across centuries and continents. It includes saints and activists and countless unnamed individuals who chose integrity in daily life. Their memory reinforces the conviction that nonviolence remains a viable and transformative force. And over time, nonviolence shifts from aspiration to embodiment. Our daily spiritual practice refines perception. Our honest reflection reveals subtle tendencies toward impatience or superiority. Our community accountability encourages growth. And gradually the commitment to refuse harm becomes second nature. So this revolutionary belovedness practice of fight then flows more freely as an extension of identity rather than as a reactive impulse. Living this way reshapes the self. The voice becomes a channel for courageous truth. The body becomes a vessel for compassionate presence. The mind becomes attuned to possibility rather than rivalry. Each choice participates in the healing of the wider whole. And hope arises as faithful commitment to transformation grounded in love. Nonviolence as a way of being, therefore, stands as a luminous path in a fractured world. It cultivates interior reverence. It nurtures moral clarity. It sustains compassionate strength. And from this deep, deep foundation, the practice of fight emerges as disciplined love in action, confronting injustice while preserving dignity. Rooted in contemplation and expressed through courageous engagement, this way of life invites communities and you into a future shaped by steadfast compassion and creative restorative justice. We will soon move into a guided meditation, but let's take a moment now to commit to our contemplative practice by sharing a few moments of silence together, to rest in love so that we can more recognize ourselves as love. Friends, to practice nonviolence in the world means we first must to practice nonviolence to ourselves. And that's much of what we have reflected on this evening. And there's also this interesting, wonderful resource, let's see, by Gerard van der Haar, Personal Nonviolence, a Practical Spirituality for Peacemakers, where he takes you through some inner work so that you can have that outer work in the world. Next, I wanted to share with you a guided meditation. I often call it a guided inquiry. They're interchangeable. And in this, you are invited to enter the inner ground where nonviolence begins. Nonviolence as a way of being is not first about what we do in the world. It's about who we become in the quiet spaces of the heart. So this meditation invites you to sense how reverence for life lives within your own body, and notice how the impulse toward harm softens when touched by awareness. So take a moment to find your comfortable posture. Allow your body to settle. Feel the contact again between your body and the surface that holds you. Sense the weight of your legs, the openness of your chest, the quiet movement of your breath. No need to force anything, just simply be. As you breathe in, feel the gift of life entering you. As you breathe out, feel your body offering steadiness back to the world. Bring attention to your heart area and notice any sensation there. Warmth, pressure, tenderness, spaciousness. There's no need to change anything. Simply witness what is present. Nonviolence begins here in the willingness to stay present with what arises. Good. Notice if there's any tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your hands. Gently soften those places. If you can, feel what happens in your body when you imagine responding to conflict with dignity. What shifts in your breath? What happens in your belly? What texture appears in your chest? Now bring to mind a recent moment of tension. You don't need to relive the story. Simply sense the energy of it. Where does it live in your body? Is it sharp, heavy, hot, tight? And place one hand over that area if it feels supportive. And let your breath move into that space. Nonviolence as a way of being means We do not abandon our own intensity. We hold it with awareness. We allow it to teach us. So as you breathe, ask gently within, what is this energy asking for? Is it asking to be heard? Is it asking for protection, for clarity? Stay curious. Curiosity is a doorway into nonviolence. It interrupts automatic reaction and opens space for wisdom. Good. Imagine now someone with whom you disagree. Picture their face in a soft and spacious way. Notice what arises in your body. Tight shoulders, shorter breath. Whatever it is, just simply observe it. Nonviolence does not deny feelings. It invites feelings into a larger field of compassion. As you breathe, sense that this person also breathes. Their lungs rise and fall. Their heart beats. Their life carries joys and fears. Allow that awareness to move through your body like a widening circle. Feel your spine steady. Feel your feet rooted. Because nonviolence has a way of being, feels grounded and spacious at the same time. It doesn't collapse. It doesn't harden. And it stands with clarity while remaining open. Notice what strength feels like in your body when it is free from hostility. Does it feel tall, warm, steady? Allow that embodied strength to grow. This is the soil from which courageous action emerges. The practice of loving struggle grows from this inner steadiness. And when we act from this place, our words carry dignity, our presence carries calm, and our boundaries carry clarity. Good. Now place both hands over your heart. Feel the rhythm beneath your palms. This rhythm connects you to every living being. Each heart beating across the world shares this same pulse of life. Sense how harming another would reverberate through this shared field, and sense how honoring another strengthens it. Nonviolence will become natural when we feel this shared pulse. So continue there. Rest in that awareness for a couple of minutes. Breathing in, I receive life. Breathing out, I offer peace. Breathing in, I receive life. Breathing out, I offer peace. Friends, begin to deepen your breath. Feel the weight of your body again supported. Gently move your fingers and toes, and when you're ready, open your eyes. Take a moment to look around the space that you're in. And may you carry this embodied sense of steady compassion into your next encounter, your next decision, your next act of courage. We have some time for dialogue, whether it's questions, reflections, maybe you want to re-say something, you can share anything at all. Maybe you just want to say hello to each other and let those that are here know where you're joining from tonight. In addition to that, I have 4 questions. These questions will also be available on the website where the replay video is, so you can spend more time with them there. But let me share them now, and if you want to provide an answer to one or more of those in short form, you can certainly do that. First, where in your daily life do you most notice the invitation to practice nonviolence in thought, word, and action? Second, where does your body signal the difference between reactive energy and grounded strength? Third, what spiritual practices most help you cultivate nonviolence as a stable identity rather than a temporary response? And the fourth question is, how might our community, your community, embody nonviolence more fully in the ways that we engage conflict, difference, and public life? So those are there. You may respond in any way or reflect in any way on tonight's sharings. I will sit quietly for just a moment to give you time to ponder and type. All right, friends, thank you very much. Whether you were here for the live session or you are watching the recording, our deepest gratitude for your participation. And until next time, I certainly hope to see you again soon. I wish you a wonderful evening. Good night.